guess I am doing the recap then.
Yeah.
This was in March. So.
Oh,
Are you going to do the recap?
No, 6th of March?
Yep.
I've got like 4 notes.
Okay, so these might not all make that they made sense at the time. So we had prosody for breakfast, and we had to sing for our meal. There was kettle drums and throat singing. Stowball sings "I Felt the Earth Move Under My Feet." Hawk sang "We Believe," and Roland sang "Hey Jude." A spotlight appears. John Noble looking dude steps into the spotlight and he sings "Heart," which moves into Judas. The folk give us directions to go to the next island over. We don't join them. Did not join them, then left. I'm not sure what that means. Somebody was wearing a mask which looked a lot like a chameleon and it reminded us of Crystal Fire. Know him by Foundation Stone, was there for 2 or 3 weeks, and I put in quotes, him never say no.
Did we go to the house where it's kind of...
Yeah, I'm getting to that. I've got like 3 pages of notes.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
You make notes.
This is why we asked Dave what happened.
You make notes and
No,
you do the recaps.
Okay, right.
So Hawk Sister came past a couple of months ago. We take off on our flying bed and head to the island. We land there and it's very still. There's lots of clothes shops with like old newspapers covering up the windows. The sound of our footsteps are reversed. Door opens. There's a joyful reunion with Hawk's sister. I can't read what I've written here. Hawk has something, has had something erased from her mind. We're introduced to, definitely can't read that, apprentice / something. Hawk says they can't return to society. She asks Hawk if she can remember university, and Hawk says that she remembers and then there's a scene change. We're in an aspect of the town. Stowbold wishes to know, and that's what I've got. It probably doesn't help very much, but that's my notes.
No, I remember I got to read what was...
You read what had happened that had been... Yeah.
And one of the reasons why she wasn't able to return to society was that she's literally having to hold herself together.
I've got jigsaw face.
Yeah. So she took like part of the mask off and almost like... And then the MCU comes along with Doctor Strange and has that effect when he's going through and the bits of him are coming out, but it's a little bit like that. But yeah, we'd kind of found her and left it there, and then spent the following session, which was session 59, just doing admin and bookkeeping and growths and whatever. But we hadn't really decided which way we were going to be going.
So just to clarify, when Hawk read the thing that happened, does Kelly know what that was?
Yes.
Can I know what that
I
is?
vaguely remember something about the end of the world being like just like it effed up, but that's what I remember.
That was what we've discussed today, wasn't it? Right, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah. I just remember it was like, ooh, that's not good.
The piece of information that she had given you and allowed you to know, and had you also let Stowbold know?
I don't think you told it.
I don't think I told anyone.
No.
Okay. Have you told the players?
Yes, because I think everyone read it, didn't they?
Yes. So the secret was that we hadn't won the war.
No.
and the invaders had won the war. So kind of coming off the back of that, we've spent some time on her island, in her mansion, going around the shops, things, just resting and being, and kind of bringing ourselves together. And I think, Hawk, you've had some time to kind of think about that information, and maybe chat about it with your sister a bit more.
Because that was the thing that we kind of uncovered as part of our stuff, and it was like...
Because I keep forgetting her name. What is the name of your sister?
Josephine.
Josephine. That might be one of the things that I can't read. Yes.
So
Sorry.
I was going to say that if we are, because I described her, the island that she was on, as being like St Michael's Mount leading up to the mansion at the top of it, and I'm guessing that if there's not space in her pallet at the top of it, there's going to be space where we can camp or sleep or rest or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are rooms and it's big enough, but also, even if you're in somebody else's house, however big the house is, it's good to get out and stuff. And you've been kind of talking with Josephine a little bit, and she's kind of let on to you that the island is not a prison, it's more of a sanctuary. And she wasn't... she was helped to come here. This card. And what is the comment? Enticing jewel. I don't know what the symbols mean. It's number 2 and a sun, and it means invisible. And I will find out in here. How do I navigate this?
They are alphabetical. So about 2/3 of the way back in. So after that, there you
go. Enticing jewel. The light at the end of the tunnel, the brass ring, the centre of the target, the object of our desire. Lies before us in the form of an enticing jewel. We want it, we have to have it. It represents beauty, but the side of beauty that demands attention and probably possession. It is the beauty that can sometimes call out to our darker natures. It brings out greed, ambition, and selfishness.
Malprocess.
Itself can be someone succeeds at a major goal, something or someone has a great physical beauty enters the scene. An NPC possessing great wealth becomes involved. An NPC obtains or desires an object of great value. Okay.
So just to let you all know, I'm playing Stoneball today. Not Caliban, because that.
Hi, Stoneball. And I'm a alcoholic.
Give me a shot of that molten liquor. See what I did there?
I think that if we... So she can't come back to society. This place is a sanctuary because she knows what's going on. We would guess that the agents of the bad guy, the enemy, know that she knows.
Yeah.
And she's kind of hiding here. Almost.
Do we know whether the Thar and all that triumvirate stuff, are they the bad guys, or were they part of our side? So
the Deathless Triumvirate were installed by the enemy.
that explains why they've been after moi, because I'm guessing they're trying to find out potentially whether what I knew, but nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I do.
You use this word enemy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you take this word enemy to mean?
Just enemy with a capital E, the bad guy from the war. What? Yeah. And I suppose it's a little bit difficult for me to use that word because I was am a weapon that the enemy's made.
I think I would like to have a conversation with Josephine
Mm-hmm.
in whether she would be okay with sharing that with my companions,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm dubious to do so because it then makes them a target,
Mm-hmm.
but knowing this may make it easiest for us to progress, not only just with her own personal stuff, but just in general, I guess.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, so she kind of explains to you that the reason that she's falling apart is not the secret itself, it's how she came to the secret.
yeah,
Because if it had been the secret itself, she would never have told you.
Yeah.
She would never want to put you in harm's way.
Yeah.
And that's why she came here and allowed you to believe that she was dead, because, you know, she...
Yeah.
But time is moving on, the threat is getting larger,
yeah.
and she knows she can't, she's done all she can.
Do I know how she came to that, or was that? I can't remember.
Yeah, she said that she was kind of helped here. Do you know?
Like, no, wait, how she came to the knowledge of the secret? Because I
Yeah.
know it was part of our researchy thing or something.
You had a spell that fluxed where to control. It was a simple divination to find a lost sock or something.
Yeah, it's like, ooh dear, that went wrong. No, that's cool. And it was the part of that did that.
Yeah.
Right, that makes sense now.
And I think that kind of started her path,
Yeah.
and then she went further and further and further, and basically scratched an itch that possibly shouldn't have been scratched.
And then I guess we got caught out by the academics. But we were too smart to.
But I think also with her, like, for you, the spell to wipe your memory had completely worked. For her, it was still an itch there,
Yeah,
and so even after that happened, she carried on scratching.
yeah. It hadn't fully. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, so she's happy to tell your comrades.
So yeah, I guess we would call not nothing like a little, like, sit around a table, maybe have some tea, some biscuits,
or have
and
dinner.
dinner, whatever. It's like
Yeah.
we have something to say, but you have to, or something to tell you that is really important. You have the opportunity to say no to knowing what this is, because it would mean a threat on your life even more than what's going on at the moment anyway. But we both agree, we feel it would be wise for you to know, to be able to help potentially take things forward.
So Roland says, you know, we are Cartat, we are one for many. Your enemies are my enemies. That's a yes.
Yes. Nails.
And so, what are you willing to take on this burden of information?
I've been the one to support many people. I've been the one to encourage many people. I've found through these travels and these journeys that I'm not who I thought I was.
What do you mean by that? And I think you have to kind of explain.
That my position as a soldier in the war against the enemy was transformed into my place in Shadow all of which was on the foundation of a lie, because I was made to be a weapon of the enemy. However, I've come to a realisation that the lie is more attractive than the truth. So I choose here and now that that is my truth, and I will not consciously be a weapon formed against the rose, the path.
I think this knowledge will help understand what's happened and why those things happened, and may help you move on and follow the path that you wish to do so.
And am I right in saying that you've all spent time in the shadow?
Mm-hmm.
So you're aware of the difficulty between telling the lies from the fiction and the fiction from the lies.
And Stonewall kind of like just wipes a hand down over his face, and then the human face just kind of drips away to the rock monster. He says, "Is that who I am? Is this who I am?" And then he kind of does that, and it pushes it back to the normal human face.
I think you, Stonewall, actually know more than most the power of defining your own identity.
Most definitely.
Now, what I have to tell you so I'm not very good at these Greek words. What I have to tell you it depends very much on the languages used. And in this conversation already, you use this phrase enemy several times. But I would wish to change that to invader. Now, where did you guys come from? I forget.
Hmm?
The purple. The map.
Santorini.
Santorini, thank you.
Yeah.
Santorini has been for many, many generations a thriving and wonderful place. And an invading force came in and tried to take over. And then people went into shadow for various reasons. People came out of the shadow again, believing that the invaders had not taken over, that they had been rebuffed, and that Santorini was once again ruled by its original rulers. This is not the case.
Do we know who the invaders are, or is that something we need to seek?
It's something that I am moving towards, but as I have been moving towards it, I'm seeing them less as an enemy. I believe that there was something that Santorini, the leaders of Santorini, were doing, was damaging the continuum of the rose. I think it was damaging our progression towards the centre spell. Now obviously this is so far out of our measurable data, I can't prove to you anything of that what I'm saying. But I was helped here by people I don't yet know, because I started looking, and this is what happened to me, and she kind of gestures to her face. I started coming undone because I came too close to the spell, or what I believe to be the spell that started all things, going backwards and forwards in time.
And is that linked to the path of the suns and everything?
Yeah. You got the map around?
It's... What, did you want the map of the city or the big map of the area?
Big map.
They're probably tucked in one of the folders in the top part. Don't think it's in there, it's just cards. Or white and a little black top box just at the
What are your thoughts? Now you share this knowledge with us and why it's caused so much trouble over the last.
Well, my belief is that the rulers of Satyrine were doing something that was affecting the path of sand, was affecting the path to the centre, and now, and through the war, they were able to change that impact.
excuse me.
And they were able to. Don't worry, it's a half idea anyway.
That's the map of
Okay.
the Indigo Sun with Satyrine at the top.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, so through the war, they were able to stop the actions that the leaders of Satyrine were taking that was damaging the rose. However, something is happening again that is damaging the rose, and they're not able to come in and swoop in like a war like they did last time. They have to be more subtle this time. So they were happy to help me. I realise this isn't as well formed thought as I thought it was.
So they got you here with the knowledge that the previous stewards of Satyrine weren't necessarily noble in their intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Satyrine has been here for millennia and has had many different rulers. The city is built on ruins of itself. But if the previous crop before the war were not good, such as good and evil, were
It's
not
the age-old thing
beneficial
of
to reality.
scum rises
Was it
to
one
the
of
top.
those things that maybe they thought they were doing the right thing, but actually it probably wasn't good for everybody?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And
they had installed the Thar, but the people they had left to control them with no recollection of the invasion force having any strings still in this universe have now become corrupt. And we need to figure out what exactly is hurting the rose and stop it.
So what was it that? What were they up to?
would it make sense to find the force that drove the invasion in the first place?
Yes?
So yeah, those who, because the invaders instilled the triumvirate and stuff, actually maybe it may be worth talking. I know that they're now corrupt.
The triumvirate are corrupt, but the force that installed them,
Yeah.
the Angular Serpentine,
Angular Serpentine.
it's a name that was on that piece of paper.
Oh.
It's the name of the enemy, but you can't say it,
Oh.
effectively, because the war wiped. I don't know if this place would, or the place where we are now, is disconnected enough from that spell
To it to be like
that we can actually say it. It's like,
so it's to find out who came in the first place.
I think this is like one of those tangled moments
Yeah.
where she starts looking around and sees the sun everywhere, and you look around and actually you can now see a pattern very much like the Path of the Suns,
Yeah.
but in the form of a snake.
I'm just writing the thing down so that I know, just to keep it straight in my head. So there were the old rulers of Satyrine, who were not necessarily good. They were breaking.
Well, they weren't necessarily bad either, but they was breaking the sun, the Path of the Sun, but didn't know any better.
Like Shinra Corporation.
Oh no, Shinra knew. Then there was the war with the invaders, the Angular Serpentine. They installed the Thar to rule Satyrine.
They installed the Deathless Triumvirate, and the Deathless Triumvirate used the Thar as their
Police.
As their Stasi.
But we also saw that as it was an invasion, or as it was an invading force by bad guys, and started the war. But the actual truth was,
the Deathless Triumvirate have now been corrupted.
Mm-hmm.
and then subsequently, since the peace kind of came into place, whatever was originally the reason why the Serpent Beat came has started up again.
We want to try and fix things, but they can't invade again.
You have to be more subtle about it. But because they're aware that that there's someone on the inside.
So I guess my kind of initial question is, so all of the kind of like devastation and destruction and bad stuff that's around in Satyrine that have been blamed, on the enemy, they've come in and they've done all these horrible things, was that actually us that did all of those horrific things?
The war got desperate on both sides. I think Aberon knew some of the weapons that he made.
Yeah, God, I was totally used.
Both sides committed atrocities.
And this is one of the reasons that it can't be a war again.
Because it
would,
wipe us out entirely.
Yeah.
What's the phrase? Inter arma enim silent leges. In times of war, the Lord falls silent.
So they realise now that one of the issues was everyone forgetting, because they're almost doomed to repeat the same things. They need some people to remember, but the magic that they cast across the whole of Satyrine, and really the whole of the path, was so thorough that nobody does remember, and this is why it has torn her apart.
It would just sound like mad people.
So this is
that's possibly what caught us off at uni.
So it's the Angular Serpentine that made everybody forget.
Yeah.
Because I guess they won, didn't they? So that was their clean-up operation.
Exactly, and it's not like they didn't want to rule.
No.
They didn't want. That wasn't the idea.
It's just to stop whatever.
Exactly.
Guardians of Earth. So I think, one, what was it that they were doing?
So this is a lore question, just so that I can, because I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping this all straight in my head. So the idea that the enemy, the Angular Serpentine, were people that were coming outside to kind of destroy the path. That was what, our propaganda?
It seems so, yes.
But actually it was our people all along that were doing it.
And how much of that did we know when the war was on? Did the us forgetting plant all of that there, or was that, did we know who we were fighting for when we were fighting for them and now we don't remember, or did we not know what was actually going on and we don't remember?
I think you probably didn't know what was going on and you don't remember because the defending force didn't really know what was going on. They just saw people who were trying to attack, and so powerful, and clearly they want to destroy everything. But that wasn't their goal.
They went about it the wrong way. A little bit heavy-handed, maybe. I guess that's the question we can ask when we find out who. Like, why was that your reason? Why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why did you think that was a wise move? Because it messed up so much stuff.
So I believe that the bit of paper that I gave, this is meta, sorry, out of game, out of character. So, the bit of paper that I gave you kind of listed where the angular serpentine had retreated to.
I did it. I didn't remember. I don't remember what it said.
Okay.
Other than that, because I was like,
Does
still
it have
like,
it still?
I put it back in the box. It's in the night side of the grey.
So we have to potentially go back to the grey.
And then to the night side of the grey.
and the greys, the shadow.
Mm-hmm.
The grey is here.
Yeah. Oh crap! I don't want to go
Well,
back to that.
One could think that if the grey is all lie, the night side of it, this again not really, is all truth.
It's not a reversal. It's a darkened kind of form of the same thing.
Oh.
So where the green is life and creation and growth, the night side of green is like rampant growth for growth's sake with no thought to the consequences. But it can be some like almost, I don't like using the C word in game, but it's kind of cancerous in its sort of thing. And
It's an extreme.
So if we go to the grey, and then it's the night side of the grey, it's like the Biff Tannen future in Back to the Future. What?
Yeah.
it's like the Highlander 2.
Oh no.
Highlander 2 gets the X.
Okay, there should have been only one.
Okay. If we go, okay. From his pouch, Roland is going to pull out a cigarillo and light it, and he's going to.
Not Roland, is it? Stephen King.
Stephen King is Roland. Roland is Stephen King. The ultimate author insert character.
I think that's, all our response to it right now is kind of legit because it is like.
But now I'm getting a cigarillo and kind of like leaning back in the chair and. and you know, getting very contemplative.
Lucky coin.
Lucky coin. Something's a something, and it's a 4, and it's silver and gold.
It is the 4 of notions.
Well, that's me.
So, improving creative magic.
We put a lot of value in objects. We place a lot of importance in their presence in our lives. Some people might have a favourite shirt, a trusty handkerchief, or even a lucky coin. Armed with a talisman such as this, no harm can befall us, but we only barely understand the truth of such things. The luck they bring, if they work, never comes in an expected form. Something good is coming. It's likely nothing one planned or was expecting. It comes from many forms. Success, money, or elimination of a problem. The lucky coin is a positive card turn and suggests that the person in question has perhaps less structure weighing upon them than they thought. Fewer strings for the marionette, so to speak. They are more free than they believe, free to act and do as they pleased. What the flip?
Yeah.
I'm sort of expecting Roy Batty to walk in now.
From a practical and logistics point of view, forgive me for lapsing back to my forces days. There are two things that we need. One of which is an easier way of communicating with Josephine here.
Yes.
The second of which is an easier way to get here and back to the mainland. I don't relish flying that bed again. I don't relish going back to that island because I cannot remember what their accents were, and I don't think I could do it again.
I'm wondering, as
Unfortunately, one of the aspects of this island, it is difficult to reach. That is why I am here.
I'm wondering if there is some kind of, as a maker, all coming together to combine our powers to create some form of portal, or way, like say the channel of communication could be the same thing as the portal, so only us actually have the access to it. And you only use it when you have to. So there is one end is here, the other end is at the rose, and there is no other branch off it.
So we give Josephine some sort of giant spotlight with a stencil of a rose on it. And when she needs us, she shines up into the sky.
I don't know how we would go about this. It's probably the biggest thing I've ever created, or we would ever.
Have you got anything about your persons?
What haven't I got?
There are two things that I can think of. One of which we can speak to each other through these.
Oh,
I was thinking exactly
we
the
can
same
let you
thing.
be part of the quartet.
Can we craft another one?
Could I, as a maker, figure out how that's created? Because we never did it, did we? If it was...
They were given to us. What was it? The communication. Sending messages is only the level 2 version of this thing. So yes,
Because distance away, teleport to another charm. So that would be that's too hard for us to do.
The really high level one.
Yeah.
But sending a message or sharing senses should be fairly straightforward. Now, what I will do is I will take, if we're kind of sat down in like around at a big sort of table over tea whilst we're discussing this, and we have the discussions, and then I pull this out, and then I weave, and I think I'm going to pull sort of illumination from the fire, and with your permission, Hawk, Josephine, a drop of blood each from you to take family from the blood, and I will take understanding from the challenge that we have coming from us and weave those three together to try and work out how we can craft another one of these, just to kind of give you almost like a psychic mould to. Oh, I don't even need to make a psychic mould. I can just kind of etch a mould into the table. What's a table made of? Please say it's stone. Please say it's stone.
Tektite.
Tektite. Oh.
Ooh.
Not massively into that sort of thing, but that's a transformational stone. So yeah, so I will do that, and then I will etch a thing on there. I think I'm going to pitch this as a level 7. No,
It's a level 2.
so I think level 10 because I can. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's level 10. I am going to spend sortilege for an extra dice.
The irony is that one of my things is crafting jewellery, etc.
And I have Illuminate Mysteries as a practice weave that adds 1 to my roll. And I think, am I trying to create? I'm trying to create something, aren't I? Like to create this mould.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm also going to claim a +1 for the spell there.
Nice.
So there is so 10, 11, 12. I got a 14 and a 21.
Whoa! Yes. I think you managed it.
So it's
Well, so you've made something that looks the same, and you think it's the same, but you give it a test, and it doesn't appear to be the same. It feels the same, it looks, but you can't communicate. Like if you send out a broadcast, she's in
I
another
need
room,
to do something to
she
it.
can't.
Yeah.
So there's something that she needs to do. Activate it, for want of a better word. When did you guys start getting being able to use these? Because I know you were all given them and you had them at various times before you met. But when did you start using them?
Got a couple of years of notes to go through.
It was a little while.
It was after. It was when we found the 5th dragonfly and the eternal obelisks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and before we went to
In the Silver Sun.
so fairly early on then.
Yeah, it was literally page 1, which was November 2018.
Oh, pre-COVID.
That's nearly 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh,
Then you, I think you made vows and promises.
We also enacted the ritual of the rose a short time afterwards.
So maybe we need to go through that initiation with you.
Yeah. Because she also obviously wants to protect the rose massively. She wouldn't have done this if she didn't. But she needs to take part in that same ritual
Oh,
to join quartet.
I think you had it on a piece of paper.
I think I do.
I didn't think it did. I was just going to go, she does that.
there is the ritual.
We need 2 to 5 participants. The Book of the Rose, 1 leaf of dedication, 1 leaf of either regret, despair, or compassion. Essence of roses, 1 hour prep, 1 hour performance. You're the one with all the ingredients. Do you have this stuff?
I do not have that stuff, but I'm pretty certain maybe.
So we need to try and get these ingredients. Don't you have an apothecary shop?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking.
In Fartown.
in Fartown. So
Not on this island.
and we can't exactly get stuff posted here because otherwise that will be like
Prime don't deliver.
Prime did not. Yeah,
It's like ZZ postcodes.
Yeah. We don't deliver out to the archipelago because it's a pain in the ass. And it
Being
costs too
good at
much.
St Michael's Mount with all the little shops and things like that. And there was the
Mm.
tat shops and there was some, tea towels. All I got was this lousy tea towel. But there was also a bookshop. And
Mm.
with the whole crazy spatial awareness of Discord bookshops,
L-Space.
L-Space, they're all connected in one way or another.
Because I think I've got the Book of the Rose. That's,
yeah, I think
that's stuck in my gunner. But all of the consumables is what we're going to need.
and then that too, because you just created the mould for this.
Mhm.
You need to actually make this.
No, you made it?
No,
My idea was that I was just kind of using my
Oh, sorry, I
magma,
skipped a step then.
yeah, my magma finger to trace a mould
Ah.
in the surface of the table.
I skipped a step because I was like, oh, she's testing it and stuff.
So I've got level 4 in understanding and identifying materials. So I would like to take a look at this and our charms and what are they made from, and is that something in itself that we could get? So I can create it as a charm in itself,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And craft it because I've got crafty skills. So I'm going to need some help figuring out what to do. So definitely going to be a perception-y thing, I think.
Mhm.
So I'll use those. And I've got level 4 of understanding identifying materials.
It's 5.
So that will be 5.
I will. Snowball will assist and spend a point of sortilege to give you an extra dice and a nip from the flask.
Oh yeah.
So there's 4, 5, 6.
Right.
And are you notions?
Secrets.
Your secrets, yeah.
Oh, that makes
I'm
sense.
notions. Do you want me to hold something?
Hold your horses.
Nope, we're good. So starting off with 6. What should we?
Unless you've got any spells that you can throw at it.
Got the spirity stuff. Ooh. I've got a level 9 pale spell that is called Full Vessel. So a number of spirits come to my side to provide assistance to get 2+ dice. So I use the spirits to come help me.
Yeah. Oh, that's a one of your forte abilities,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. That's 9 sorcery to activate, but there's an extra 2 dice.
I actually got more sorcery, I think. Oh no, there's all that. So that's all. That's out the way. So
I just put mine to one side because I'm going to resting at the same person's back at some point.
yeah, that's true. So I've got +6, 2 extra dice, like loads of extra dice. What are we aiming for? To try and figure out what this is made of. I have no idea.
So I think there's stages. I've got a couple of different things in mind. I've not good with the numbers. If she does really well, and there's a medium, and there's a low.
Okay, so 15, 11, and 7.
Okay. So kind of goes pale,
Ooh.
and there's like an eerie thing around her. We've not seen her do the spirit thing for quite some time. A little out of practice, one might say. But sat
Is it
there.
from your slightly haunted sortier?
Slightly.
No,
she's got a new one.
I've got a new one because the slightly haunted. We had to give it away.
Oh, that's true.
Slightly haunted, but I will
Because that stopped being slightly haunted by Shoeless Joe and is now slightly haunted by 19.
That's right.
So I'm very. So it was 6. What I'd
You got
started
+6, yeah.
+6. So that was 1. So 2 8s and a
7.
14. No. Yeah, 14.
14.
So it's an alloy. You have everything that you would need to make it, and you do make it. But within that, you recognise that some of the materials come from quite far afield, and you know only one of them comes from the purple sun, under the purple sun, because all the different suns have kind of got different flavours,
Mm-hmm.
and you can recognise that one. You can also recognise the pale, but there's other ones in there that you don't recognise. But you do have them with you. They just kind of came together and made the. Because I think the spirits maybe recognise more than you did.
Yeah.
And put it in and did make the.
Cool. So now we know what that is. We'll craft it. Voila.
So you have that. You have the book. You have a willing entrant.
Yeah, we have 3 of us who are bonded to the rose already.
Yeah, we need 2. We've got 3, so that's fine.
And it's just the leaves of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
I
We need 1 leaf of dedication each.
Where would we find those?
1 leaf of either regret, despair, or compassion. And we need essence of roses.
Is it reasonable to say that there are overgrown gardens in some of these?
Yeah.
These things there?
Distill some essence of rose, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just the emotion leaves.
And
What do you mean by leaf?
Like gold leaf
Yeah.
is pressed and hammered shut.
Yeah.
Leaves of emotions are
emotions that.
emotions that are congealed to a physical essence, and they
You
are
can't,
like.
one can't do it yourself if you have.
I'm guessing that is.
Technically, you can, but there's a reason why the Emotion Mills Consortium are so rich, because they've got the emotion foundries that they use to both produce the orbs that we use for money, and they make these leaves.
So while we're having the discussion about how to get them, so these are ingredients that we could get relatively easily in Saturnine.
Yeah, the Celestial Bazaar, it would not be a.
It's just getting to and from Saturnine is a pain in the backside. Which leads me then to my idea.
I have a backup idea.
But I've got 2.
I have no
Okay.
idea.
And we'll see how well either of these work.
I've got another idea.
Yeah, that's it.
So
there we go.
to get
Double
across
check, big butts.
to get across the
Dum-dum.
sea, I could call an object from metaphor and make a bridge over troubled water that only we can use, that will get us from here to Saturnine,
Travelling.
unless that's too specific a use for it. If
I
that
think
does,
that the space between doesn't work like space. A solid thing like a bridge.
it's a metaphorical bridge.
Solid thing like a metaphorical
No, my
bridge.
lord, it's a potato.
The other thing that I'm thinking is, I've got lots of little ideas actually. So, call an object from story, and that would be, we could make a Bifrost. We could make a rainbow bridge that goes from this island to the Rose, which weaves all of the colours of the suns.
That's amazing!
I
And
like that
So
idea.
we need to go from A to B.
Yeah,
That's
that's how we
how
do
we
it.
do it.
Because that's kind of what I was like, you know, that like the transporty thing. That's
Yeah.
kind of, but I didn't
Yeah.
know. But that's it. That's
Yeah.
exactly what was in my noggin, but my brain couldn't
And we
express.
couldn't
No one else could use that.
get here by that way because we didn't know where here was.
But
But now
that
we do.
That beats my idea.
We just make a rainbow bridge that goes between the Rose and
Oh,
here.
now in my head, I totally have the Lego pool game when you're travelling. I don't know if you've ever played that, but yeah, when you're going up through the Bifrost from like Earth to like Lego Asgard, it's so much fun. I just got that going through my head now. It's like, yeah.
So that's going to be call object from story.
I believe that although this place is very secure, generally you guys managed to get here, and I would suggest that if you manage to get here, others could come as well. You may be the first, but they could, to protect, if you wouldn't mind, Stephen, protecting this place in the same way you protected the Rose
Yeah.
before linking them.
Yeah.
Good lad, good lad.
That's a good idea. So I'm going to, basically seal this place the same way that the Rose was, and then link the two with this bridge. So what do you want me to roll for? Because it was basically,
With the ceiling, you've done it before.
Yeah.
Although that was a while ago, you relatively practiced at that, so I'm
Mhm.
not sure you really need to roll for that.
that's fine. So I'm gonna,
With this object from story, do you need materials for objects from story? It just happens.
You just
I just
draw
draw
the-
it from the story, but it's going to be quite difficult, I imagine.
Okay.
I've rather cleverly not written down what level call object from story is.
It's in the key. If you need a hand, and then Stowball just kind of, we go into the backyard of one of these houses, and he just kind of does that, and then all the rocks just kind of rumble, and then it clears the,
So you can just have something to
stone.
draw in.
Yeah.
and then he says, guide my hand, master writer, and I will draw the pattern in the stone for you.
Yeah, we will do that. That's a pretty permanent thing. Yeah, that's cool. And then
Protect the island. You will keep
I
us
think
safe.
though, like the Bifrost,
Mhm.
if this is its origin, you have to be let back in from here.
Yeah.
Like from, because there was a guy opening up the Bifrost, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder
Mhm.
that
Call
we
object from story is level 6.
thank you. Call
we
object
must
metaphor.
return at a certain point, like
4.
for us to get to the other way.
Yeah.
That there must be an agreed time.
The thing is, if we're only wanting to get back to Saturnine to go to the bazaar, I know don't split the party and all the meh kind of stuff. But
But
Sometimes the party needs to be separated.
what if one of us stays here? We open it, we go to the other end, and then it's a hey.
Because we can speak to each
We,
other.
Yeah,
we can
that's
speak to
true.
each other. Hey, can you open the door now? And you know, could be.
Hawk insists on going because she's like, well, I know
Where
we
you're
can
going
go
shop,
get
you're, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the shopping.
I will stay. I will stay.
Okay.
What mechanism do you think would be appropriate to open the Bifrost from this end? Because it wouldn't be a sword necessarily.
Well, in the thing is, because I'm.
Yeah.
You need a wicked key to open the door. Oh my goodness.
But that means we've got limited uses of it because the wicked key is magical.
Well, not necessarily a wicked key, but
Because the sword thing is very much just from the films. Because the Bifrost is just a thing that they. Oh, it'll be there now.
not we.
But.
Think of all your stories. What's in your stories?
Are you?
What we need is a rose. We've got a rose in the rose.
Yeah.
We need a rose here, and that's what activates the bridge.
So
A solid, an actual road bush.
an actual rose, or just like a rose key?
A rose key, or a little rose in a jar that Beast looks at every day.
I walk out, come back about 10 minutes later, and I've kind of gouged a piece of lintel off one of the houses that I'd seen. It had like a carved stone rose,
Oh.
like a keystone.
A bit big for anybody else to message. What have you got on your powers and things? Because I think you can control. You can just create. You don't have to necessarily use one that's
Yeah.
already there.
Yeah.
You could find one of the roses. You know how with
A quartz rose.
possibly, yes, but you know how with fossils.
Mm-hmm.
And the fossil becomes one type of rock, and then everything else is another type of rock. You could literally maybe hold a rose and turn it into rock by.
Mineralization.
Yep.
And it could be quartz if you want it to be quartz.
Try saying that after a few.
I can't even say it. I've not had anything to drink.
Yeah, so I'll take one of the roses that you've been
There's
using
a
to
light
make.
shining out from his rune, and then the quartz rose goes on it and prisms to make the Bifrost.
Yeah.
Yep.
Warm, happy.
Just shut it all
Have
in.
it all, have it all.
I'll do.
And then
All in.
obviously,
I'm all in.
Josephine will kind of guard that,
Yeah.
look after it.
Pansy Dave is allowed nowhere near it. On our end.
Butterfingers. Oops.
I just dumped it in
We
the
need
decaf
another.
fryer
We need
again.
somewhere for this to go to the other end of, don't we?
Yeah.
The rose.
Caliburn is at the rose.
Yeah.
In theory, Caliburn has Eliana
Eliana.
has
She's
a dragonfly.
Yeah.
We message her and say, can you add a hidden level to the rose?
Yeah.
Because it's got n+1 floors.
Yeah.
We just put like a
It's a little
subliminal
space.
level into the rose,
Yeah.
and that can be the indoor garden where the bridge ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or
That
bridge
has,
end. Oh.
that has the same thing on the other end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's like those duplicates.
Yeah.
of them.
So, I need to call this object from this story then. So, it's level 6. I'm going to use as much of my sorcery as I can.
Can use 10.
I think it's important that we
Got
get
it.
Right.
this right. So, not quite. I've got 12 sorcery, so I've got 2 left. So I'm going to do that.
Rewriting notes. You can write notes from the video.
I gave up after what it was made of, and then
Yeah. Yeah.
then now I'm just going to go Bifrost.
Crystal Rose.
So that's all of those. We're under notions still.
Mm-hmm.
So I get a bonus.
Actually, let's make a new colour.
Oh,
Relentless Rumour.
I think we need to name the island.
Let's find out what the card thinks it should be called. Relentless Rumour. There's never a real truth in whispered rumours. Searching for authenticity amid clandestine, furtive words of a rumour is a fruitless task, and yet still we try. We listen. Despite the lack of complete veracity, though this rumour is relentless, it cannot die, and a living rumour is one not just told and told again, but believed and believed again. Addiction and relentless drives are a part of this. Needs and compulsions are strong motivators, and they never stop pushing. Relentless rumour suggests an ongoing action. If one is hoping for resolution, there's none to be found here. It also indicates that there is something involved. A fact, a person, a device, a spell that cannot be entirely relied upon.
that's fine. I'm also going to use sortilege.
Extra dice.
See an extra dice.
Have a nip of this.
So,
You're just a pusher, really, aren't you?
Well,
orchid.
That's my job.
So what am I needing to roll here?
That's why she doesn't really want to go back to the shadow, because like, I don't want to go back to that.
12. No, 13.
I've already got 10,
Oh, you do well.
11.
11, and
Your skill.
what skill does it come under? It's a forte ability.
Ah, okay. I don't think there is one.
Yeah. It's forte. Right, here we go. 2 4s.
Yay, you
Hey.
pass. You're very good at doing what you do. This is why I'm not good at numbers. Okay, so you manage that. The Bifrost opens up and is all its beauty. And Hawk and Stephen nip off. And when they get to the rose, Helene is kind of waiting because she's not seen you in a long time. It feels like a long time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
How'd
And you, I think you probably try to tell her at least a little bit of what you've known, not maybe not everything, Maria, but she is part of the quartet. She is there, and she does not believe you. It is a rumour. She does not believe.
That's okay, because we can discuss this later. On the way back, she can come with us.
So we're going to leave it there. That's probably a good
Yeah.
Sure.
ending point.
Sweet. Wow, guys, we definitely know how to jump back into something, don't we?
That's not so much boost, that's kind of cannonball!
There's me going,
Hey, no!
or in my head, when Europub,
Mm.
I got
Yeah,
it,
right.
was at the Ponds Forge in Sheffield, at the national like sort of booster swimming stuff for when I was at uni. My friend didn't get disqualified because they thought it was so beautiful. Literally, like jumped, clapped his hands in the air, and then like did this like dive into the water to do the swimming. And he should have been disqualified for it, but it was a thing of beauty because he managed to catch up and like come fifth.
You can get disqualified for not having a proper dive.
Yeah, because it's not. It was being stupid, really. But then again, we rocked up with water guns and was like not at races.
Weren't you the swimming team that would order pizza to poolside during meets?
We weren't necessarily a legit swimming team. We were more a party team.
It was a social group with a slight swimming problem.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, how did we find all that?
That was cool.
I loved it. Loved it. I think I've liked the potential of Stowbold. I've liked the potential of all of the characters, and I think getting to be a bit creative with the forte abilities and his kind of idiom and then just kind of sweeping the garden around and drawing in stone with his finger is just.
I can't hear idiom and not think of Lancelot.
Joy, despair.
I think a bit of both. Despair because
Now that you guys know the
big heavy
truth.
news about everything that's gone on.
Mm.
Joy that between us we've made this amazing thing.
Yeah, I think
How do you guys record it now?
definitely.
Log things.
You write on yours.
I do.
I would definitely propose a moment of joy for Hawk for A, crafting or working to craft a dragonfly charm, B, kind of being part of crafting this Bifrost thing as a team effort, and the fact that we are working together and we're using our
And your
combined
sister's kind of
abilities.
coming in on things.
Synergism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it. I found my sister. I want to help her.
I'm certainly not taking a step forward in any of the arcs that Snowball has.
On my up to in the book and on the back page.
Are they? Okay.
Yep.
That's it. I guess I've already gone one step because vowed to myself and my sister to restore my sister, and now I'm at level 2, which was repeatable step work and the heavy lifting. So that's us as a group going forward to find out what the hell happened.
Maybe for yourself?
I don't think I'm any further along my
Have
arc.
a look at the arcs.
Because
I can't remember.
my ongoing arc at the moment is to defend the rose, which this is part of, but I don't think it constitutes the next step.
Yeah.
But like I say, definitely a bit of joy and a bit of despair.
Oh,
Our quartet is growing. More grist for the mill.
You've got uncover a secret, mysterious secret, cleansing.
Well, that's kind of uncovering a secret.
Yeah.
You learned
Yeah.
today. Quite a big secret.
that was a pretty
Okay.
big secret.
The research step. But that's a repeatable step, so.
Yeah.
And that is 1 acumen for that one.
Oh, pardon me.
Lovely.
Cool.
Like that.
I like
Stop
this
recording now.
Yes, please.